In every corner of the world, from the scorching deserts of Egypt to the dense jungles of Central America, from the icy plateaus of China to the volcanic plains of Mesopotamia, there rises one shape, one eternal silhouette carved into the fabric of human memory. The pyramid. A structure so simple, yet so impossible. How is it that civilizations who never met, who never traded, who never even glimpsed each other across oceans and continents, all chose the same symbol, the same geometry, the same towering stairway of stone? Coincidence? Or something far darker? Because what if these monuments were not built to honor the gods of the sky, but to conceal doorways to the gods of the underworld? What if, buried beneath all the grand stories of kings and dynasties, lies an even older story of a black pyramid, a hidden structure said to connect every underworld across time, across myth, across blood-soaked stone? A pyramid not of sunlight, but of shadow. Tonight, we descend into the forbidden history of the Black Pyramid, and you may never look at the world's most famous monuments the same way again. Let us begin with the riddle itself. The Egyptian pyramids, colossal tombs of limestone and granite, rise from the desert sands. Their precision is still unmatched, their angles aligned with the stars. But look across the ocean, and you'll find their mirror images. Step pyramids in Teotihuacan, the Mayan temples of Chichen Itza, the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, and the hidden, forbidden pyramids of China, still buried under grass and soil, deliberately concealed. Chuckle softly. How convenient, isn't it? Everywhere you look, the pyramid appears. But why? Mainstream history shrugs. Oh well, triangles are stable shapes. Civilizations just came up with them independently. Sure, because people who could barely communicate across rivers somehow coordinated across oceans to create the same exact cosmic stairway? The truth may be this. They weren't copying each other. They were all remembering a shape, a design, a doorway that was whispered to them from the shadows. Not to rise upwards, but to descend downwards, to connect this world to the world beneath. Take Egypt. Everyone knows the pyramids as tombs for pharaohs, but the Egyptians didn't build pyramids just to celebrate death. No, they built them as engines of passage. In their sacred texts, the Book of the Dead, they speak of the Duat, the underworld, a labyrinth of darkness and fire, rivers of night, and gates guarded by monstrous beings with the heads of serpents, jackals, and lions. The dead were not simply placed in a tomb. They were guided. They were pushed into the Duat. The pyramid was the machine, its sloping sides not just stairways to the stars, but inverted stairways dragging the soul downwards deeper into the earth, into the Black Pyramid. Now listen carefully. The Egyptians had a symbol for this hidden descent. A black stone, the benben, a primeval mound said to rise from the waters of chaos. Some accounts whisper that the original pyramid, the first, was not golden or white. Pause. It was black. Half a world away, the Maya carved their pyramids above deep cenotes, sinkholes that plunged straight into the earth. To them, these were not just water sources, they were mouths. Mouths of Xibalba, the place of fear, their underworld. The Popol Vuh, their sacred text, describes the lords of Xibalba as cruel tricksters who fed on human suffering. And what stood above the entrances to these hell mouths? Pyramids, temples of stone built not to the heavens, but above the abyss. Do you see it now? A pyramid is not just a tomb. It is a map, an arrow pointing downwards. Now shift your eyes east to Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. Here, the ziggurats rise, step upon step, vast terraces of clay and brick. Scholars call them temples to the sky gods. But hidden in the Akkadian myths is a darker tale. The land of Kur, a cavernous underworld beneath the mountains, ruled by Ereshkigal, the queen of the dead. The ziggurat wasn't just a mountain reaching up. It was a mirror, a reflection of the mountain inverted, reaching down. The higher the ziggurat rose, the deeper its shadow stretched beneath. And at the bottom of Kur, they whispered of a black stone chamber, the first prison, a pyramid turned inside out. Travel further still into the Hindu and Buddhist cosmologies. Here the universe is layered in realms, stacked like steps, but the underworld, Naraka, is always described as descending, tier by tier, in inverted pyramids of suffering, each level worse than the one before. Think about that. An inverted pyramid, its point stabbing downward toward infinite darkness. While humans built pyramids rising upward, the gods described pyramids pointing down. What if they are the same? Two halves of the same machine, the white pyramid of light above, the black pyramid of shadow below. And finally, the Greeks. Everyone knows Mount Olympus, the mountain of the gods above. But fewer speak of the chthonic cults, those who worshipped Hades, Persephone, and the lords of the dead. Their temples were not built to rise, but to sink. Subterranean shrines, shaped in stepped patterns, inverted pyramids carved into caves. When initiates entered the Eleusinian mysteries, they descended a stairway, always down, always deeper, always toward a black pyramid that none were allowed to name. So ask yourself, how do all these cultures, Egypt, Maya, Mesopotamia, India, Greece, speak of the same descent, the same stairways, the same pyramidal structures tied to underworld realms? They never met. They never traded. They never wrote each other's myths. Yet they all remembered the same architecture. Because they weren't inventing it. They were recording it, preserving a memory of the Black Pyramid. Let's linger here. Why a pyramid? Why not a cube, a sphere? Why always the tapering stairway? Because the pyramid does one thing perfectly. It funnels, it focuses energy, sound, spirit, upward or downward. The Egyptians placed quartz and granite chambers inside their pyramids, stones that hum and vibrate. The Mayans built theirs above cenotes that echoed like drums of the dead. The Mesopotamians aligned theirs with solstices, shadows plunging downward like spears. And the legends whisper, the Black Pyramid is not just a place. It is a mechanism, a machine designed to focus death itself. What if, before Egypt, Before the Maya, before Mesopotamia, there was one original, the Black Pyramid. A structure buried so deep, hidden so well that it could not be seen, only remembered. Some say it was built not by humans, but by something older. The watchers of Mesopotamian lore, the fallen ones of Hebrew texts, the Asuras of Vedic myth. Whatever their name, they were not gods of the sky. They were lords of the deep. And the Black Pyramid was their throne. And here is the chilling thought. Every pyramid you see on the surface of the earth is not an original. It's a copy, a replica, a desperate attempt by kings and priests to mimic the hidden black stairway beneath. Egypt speaks of the Benben stone. Islam speaks of the black stone in Mecca. The Maya spoke of obsidian mirrors. Always black, always stone, always tied to a descent. Some occultists believe that these are fragments, shards of the original capstone of the Black Pyramid, a capstone that was shattered and scattered so its power could not be used again. But what if it wasn't destroyed? What if it still waits somewhere beneath our feet? Civilizations rise. Civilizations fall. But the pyramid remains. Why? Because it is older than them all. Because it is the whisper in the human mind that never fades. Build a stairway. Build a triangle. Build a tomb. Build a temple. No one remembers why, but everyone obeys. What if that whisper isn't ours? What if it comes from beneath? And so we circle back. Egypt's Duat, the Mayan Xibalba, the Mesopotamian Kur, India's Naraka, Greece's Hades. Different names, different myths, but the same architecture. The same descent, the same pyramid. The Black Pyramid. And so we are left, staring into the abyss of a question that has haunted mankind for millennia. Where is it? Where is the Black Pyramid? If every culture remembered it, if every civilization built copies of it, then surely the original must exist somewhere. But where? Some believe it lies in Egypt. Beneath the sands of Dashur, south of Cairo, lies what they call the Black Pyramid of Amenemhat III. But this is nothing more than a ruin. A collapsed heap of mud brick, a mockery of the name. Egyptologists laugh at the legend. Oh yes, the Black Pyramid, just a crumbled tomb. But whispers tell another story. That beneath the false pyramid lies a second chamber. A stairway not made of limestone or granite, but of obsidian. Stone black as night. Polished smooth as glass. A stairway that leads not to a sarcophagus, but to something deeper, something alive. Others claim it lies in China. In the province of Shanxi, near Xi'an, there are dozens of ancient pyramids, most overgrown with grass and trees. Farmers speak of a single one, the Great White Pyramid. But travelers from the 20th century reported something stranger. A Black Pyramid.
towering, gleaming, and forbidden. Since then, the Chinese government has sealed off the region. No visitors, no excavations, no photographs. Let us step back. If the Black Pyramid exists, if it is buried in sand, in ice, in soil, then what is its purpose? Why build such a structure? The answer may be more terrifying than we want to admit. The pyramid is a machine, not of stone, not of brick, but of resonance. Think of its shape: a funnel, a channel, an amplifier. What if the Black Pyramid was designed not to honor the dead, but to harvest them? A soul engine, a machine that captures the energy of death itself and funnels it into the underworld. This is why kings built copies, why priests demanded tombs in pyramid form. They were feeding it, offering souls, generation after generation, to a structure that thrives not on worship, but on death. And if that sounds far-fetched, consider this. Even in modern times, we bury our dead beneath stone markers shaped like triangles. The ritual never ended. We still serve the machine. Secret societies have always known. The Freemasons use the pyramid in their symbols. The Illuminati claim the all-seeing eye atop the triangle. But ask yourself, why the pyramid? Why not a circle, a square? Why this one shape, always tied to secrecy, always tied to power? Because the pyramid is not theirs. It belongs to something older, something they serve. Whispers in occult texts speak of rituals performed beneath the black stair, blood sacrifices made at pyramid altars, not to gods, but to keep the doorway below open. What if every war, every genocide, every mass death event is, in some way, a feeding the Black Pyramid? There is another theory. What if the pyramids we see above ground are only half the story? What if, beneath them, lies an inverted mirror? Imagine it. The Great Pyramid of Giza, a colossal structure rising 480 feet above the desert. But what if beneath it, buried in the rock, lies another pyramid, pointing downward, descending into the earth, just as deep as the one above is tall? Two pyramids, one of light, one of shadow, meeting at their tips in the middle. The doorway, the fulcrum, the passage between worlds. Is this why no one is allowed to dig beneath certain pyramids? Why maps of the substructures are incomplete, sealed, forbidden? Because the Black Pyramid is not missing. It's already there, beneath every one we can see. And here is the most chilling thought of all. What if it is still active? Some researchers claim pyramids emit electromagnetic energy, that their shapes channel radio waves, sound frequencies, even light, that they are tuned to the earth itself. If so, then the Black Pyramid may still be humming, still vibrating, still calling. What if every death, every passing soul, every final breath is drawn, funneled, harvested downward? not into nothingness, not into peace, but into a machine that never stops feeding. And perhaps that's why we fear death so much. Deep down, we know we are not free.
But if this is true, why don't we know? Why is the Black Pyramid not in our history books? Because the victors write history, don't they? And those victors were terrified. Ancient kings, priests, emperors, they all feared the Black Pyramid even as they served it. Later religions rose to bury it under new myths, heaven above, hell below, a simple story to hide a complex machine. The church tore down temples, the state buried ruins, the archaeologists dismissed anomalies, because if humanity remembered the truth that we were building tombs not for glory, but for fuel, the illusion would shatter. And now, let me leave you with something unique. What if the Black Pyramid is not just stone? What if it is alive? Some occultists describe it as a sentient structure, a being, not a monument, not a machine, but an organism.